So we're pretty much done now with ordering stock, keeping a record of how much is ordered on a particular day, and updating the number of stock that we have. But what we don't have now, and what we want to introduce is people buying the stuff. So I'm going to simply insert a worksheet, and it appears down here. It's called sheet 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this sheet, and I think we will call it not order, because it's got orders. It's more sort of like purchase, but purchase. Purchase. I'm going to call it purchase template. Template. It'll kind of make sense a little bit later on why I've called it purchase template. I'm going to put date. Now, if you, once again, we don't have to have a macro here, but if you think about it logically, if you're going to be, I'm just going to put equals now. Oh no, it's equals today, wasn't it? That's a better one. There you go. So it put today's date in. I'm going to put the name of the person, and I'm going to put David, because that's my name. And what I want to do now is I want to set up a situation where we're going to have product code. Oh, need to make that column a little bit wider, of course. And we're going to have item, and we're going to have price, it's the selling price, and we'd have the quantity that they want, quantity, and we're going to have the total. So now the product code. Well, if we go back to stock, do you remember we gave them product codes of 1, 2, 3. This perhaps is more useful if you had lots and lots of items, but I want to use something called a VLOOKUP in a moment. But you'll see what I mean. So the whole point is this. What I would like is for someone to type in the product code, and when they type the product code in, the item gets triggered up automatically, the price gets triggered up automatically, we fill in the quantity that they bought, and then what happens is that the total is calculated, right? And then we might record the grand total of the order, I think over here somewhere. We could put it down here, maybe we'll put it over here, I'm not sure, it doesn't really make any difference. So, let's say David comes in. Now I want this to be triggered off with the item and the price. So what we're going to say is this, we're going to tell the computer, look, this number 1, could you have a look on this sheet, and have a look in particular at this area here. And when you find the number 1, you know that's the calendar, and you know the selling price is £1.19. Right? Now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to do this kind of the wrong way first of all, using, well, not the wrong way, but a different way, and then I'm going to show you why I don't like it. I'm going to use a VLOOKUP function here, and it works this way. Equals, well, in fact actually let's use the FX button. Oh, that's weird. I've got FX. If you're using an older version of Excel, you may find the FX button is up here next to your auto sum, like one to the right. My FX button is here, and it says, okay, you're looking for a formula. Once again, in older versions of Excel, you tend to find that I've got most recently used, and I've got all financial. If you're using an older version of Excel, you tend to find they appear here, and then the functions appear on the right. Let's go to all. Now I'm looking for the VLOOKUP. So if I click on any one of the A's and press V, it takes us down to the V's. And we're going to scroll down and we find VLOOKUP, which I'm going to double click on. Now the computer says, here comes my wizard. Right, what are you looking up? Well, what I'm looking up is whatever has been put into this cell. So I'm going to click and press, I'm going to look up the number 1. Or actually not the number 1, is it? I'm looking at the value of what's in B8. And then you say, oh, he says, okay, well, where are we looking this up from? So you click here, you go to your stock sheet, oh, let's pull this out of the way, and you say, well, let's look it up. You've got to include, obviously, the column that's got the number 1 in it. And you can highlight those, because we know that this is the area that we're interested in, C4 to F6. And it says, well, what do you want to, the column index number means what do you want to return? I'm going to press that here. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to type a number in a second, but I didn't want to come away from this sheet. Do you remember we had this selected here? I'm just going to put that back here. Just ignore what's down here. this is column 1, this is column 2, this is column 3, this is column 4. Let's just do this again. What it's basically saying is, if I just do it and it makes sense, I'm going to put column 2 in here. Okay, I'm going to press OK. So what this is now saying is, what's going to go in here? Oh, damn it, never mind. I look up B8 from the stock sheet C4 to F6, this area, and I'll return whatever is in column 2, in this particular case the calendar. Let's do that again. Now, because I can use my FX, there it is, and because it's been recently used, I can actually go to most recently used, VLOOKUP. It says, what do you want to look up? I want to look up, once again, the product code. It says, where are we looking? I'll go back to my table of stock, highlight all of those, and what do you want to return? In this particular case, it's going to be column number 4, which is the prices. Press OK. And I get my, it's a bit laggy this actually today, but £1.19. Of course, just to be safe, I'm going to set those cells to currency so it looks right. Okay. Now you'd think that if we made that a 2, you'd be able to drag this down. Now this does work, but I want to focus on one thing. It doesn't quite work. I got lucky there, but if I put this back to a 1, you'd think, okay, drag it down and it'll say calendar, right? But it doesn't. It says NA. Now why is that? Well, the reason for it is this. Look up B8 stock C4 F6. Well, that makes sense, because it's always going to be looking anything up in this area, C4 to F6. But have a good look at the formula that's in here. Look up stock C5 F7. Well, C5 F7 is this area. Now, we got lucky because it said look up number 2, and number 2 is still in this area. But this explains why here it says look up stock C6 F8. We've got the number 1 there, but C6 F8 is this area. There is no number 1 in this area. So the computer goes, oh, I can't do anything because there is no number 1 there. I'm looking up this value from that area. It's not there. So I'm going to put NA. So I have a slight mistake that I can't copy things down. Now there are 2 solutions to this. What I want to do is I want to tell the computer, look, when you copy this formula down, no problem, change the B8 to B9. So for example in here, that should say equals VLOOKUP B9 from stock C4 F6 return column 2. I want the B8 to become 9 to become 10, but I don't want the C4 F6 to change. So what I can do is there's 2 solutions. I can either put a $1 in front of the 4 and a $1 in front of the 6. And now if I put a 2 there, I'm deliberately going to put a 1 there even though we've got calendars twice. If I now copy that down, it does in fact work. I don't like that, and the reason I don't like it is this. I'm going to get rid of those for the moment. Actually, I'll put the 1 there. I prefer to do things this way. I know that this C4 to F6 is a very important area. It's so important that I'm going to give it a special name, and I'm going to call it stock list. And I'm going to press enter. So what happens here is this. Look, can you see? If I click on A1, A1 appears there. Click on A3, A3 appears. Oh, it did appear up there. Let's try that again. A3 appears there. When you hover over it, it goes. Isn't that annoying? A5 is up there. If I click arrange, there's A7. Oh, you get the idea. But now watch what happens when I click this. Stock list appears. And I like this instead. Equals. Oh, I did it the long way. Let's go to FX. Let's use our VLOOKUP. And it says, alright, what we're looking up, a bit laggy, but here we go. What we're looking up this please. It says, where are we looking up from? Table array. Let's go back to stock. And guess what? When I highlight that, see at the top there? It's now not saying, not saying stock C4 colon 6. It says stock list. Because it's my special area. What we're going to return? Number 2, please. Oh, just going to type the 2 in there. Press OK. Super duper. Here it comes, calendar. And we'll do my VLOOKUP in this one. FX. And VLOOKUP. And here we go, lookup value. Going for that one. Where are we looking up from? Table array. Back to our stock. Grab stock list. I could have typed it in, might have been quicker actually. Anyway, column 4 this time. And now, what I've got is something like this. And if I put a 2 and a 3 there, we can simply, in fact, I could actually grab them both. You can do this actually. Grab them both. Mugs and t-shirts. So let's say we buy 10 of each. We're feeling a bit flashy. Okay, that's the hard bit done. We're going to wind this one up with a couple of simple ones for you now. My total is simply equal to the price of the calendar times by the quantity. Press enter. And I can copy that formula down. Super. My grand total. Oh. Make that column a little bit wider. Is simply, now this is the bit that always gets me. People go equals that one plus that one plus that one. Well, what about if you had about 10 different items? It'd take you forever to do that. If you had 100 different items, it'd be a right nightmare. Always amazing. And you also see, it just amazes me, all you've got to do is this. Just press the auto sum button. Just click it, and it says, what do you want to add up? Be careful. It is actually saying F8, F11. Technically, that's not quite right, because I've left a gap there. I'm going to say, well, can I add up that range, please? Press enter. There you go, £141.70. You change that to 5. £11.90 is going to change. The 141 is going to change. Oh, when I do that. So, that's all I want to deal with in this video. Okay, if you set that back to a space, you get that, which is something we're going to come back to later on. Right, but for the moment, what I want you to do, if you set it to delete actually, what's going to happen? Yeah, get the same thing. We'll deal with those a little bit later. But for the moment, what I want you to do is set up your item, your purchase template with a date. You can use the equals now or equals today. The name of your customer, and put all of your product codes in, but we'll use the lookup to get the rest of the details from there. If you've got 5 items, then put them all in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, put them all in there. And then we'll deal with the errors a little bit later on. But for the moment, just get this bit working.